Welcome to 40 Below Zero, an international podcast about life with invisible illnesses, hosted by two guys living with multiple sclerosis. Coming to you from the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, I'm your co-host Nix, and with me on this ride is Terry, a Londoner who calls Ontario home. We're so happy you're here with us as we continue to try and normalize a life that is anything but. So let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're glad you're here as always. Terry, my friend, it is good to see you.
Yo, it's good to see you too, bro.
How you feeling today?
I'm great. I slept early. I'm good. I'm awake.
Good.
Let's go.
Good. I'm very energized. Our guest today really needs no introduction. He's an Emmy winner, a decorated military veteran, and now we can say part of the 40 Below Zero family. So without any further ado, let's bring our today's guest, Mr. Montel Williams. Let's bring him in, Terry. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
What's going on?
Thank you for stopping by our little corner of the internet to hang out with us today.
Thanks for having me.
The 40 Below Zero podcast, I don't know how much you know, is an international podcast that highlights the similarities of men with MS around the globe. So it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you here as one of the first voices that I've ever heard when I got diagnosed.
Appreciate that.
I'm sure you've heard that many times before because it goes with me too. Every time we talk to people about it, we're like, who's the first person? Because we interview a lot of people and we always ask, who's the first person? And your name comes up a lot of the times. So to have you on here, thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, back in 2013, when I was diagnosed, my mom said, you'll be okay because you're in good company. Here's a book you should read.
I'll say this one and then we'll move on. You were on TV when we were doing the infusion, a few of us who have MS, and we looked at the TV and we're like, yeah, we felt proud to have MS because we were like, yeah, we get to bond with that guy. So funny quote. Yeah, that's weird.
So that leads me into my first actual question is, as a extremely well-known person, how does that make you feel to have all of these other people comparing their journey to you to say like, oh, you'll be fine because Montel has it,
Well, it just depends on how they compare themselves. One of the things that most people need to understand is that this disease is as different as many of us who have it. So, though there may be some slight similarities in what I may go through and what one of the two of you may go through, 90% of what we go through is entirely different. So I don't mind the comparison in the sense of, not a comparison, but I don't mind the camaraderie and the idea of us all being MS warriors. I think when we start comparing one to another, I've had people walk up to me and say, I've told my wife or I've told my husband that they need to try to do what you do. And I say, don't do that. That's not how this disease works. Just like, if you take an eye drop or you drop a drop of water on the keyboard of any computer, every single keyboard you drop that drop of water on will react differently because the circuitry is different. Though the circuitry is the same, it's not the same internally. So same thing with our brains. We have the same kind of a brain and our brains are probably formed the exact same way. But, cells in one part of my brain are not equivalent to the cells in part of your brain. So I don't mind being in a platoon of warriors who are fighting against the same illness. I just think we need to make sure that we don't do comparisons to say this works for this. It's the reason why there's 24 medications out there now. And not any of us can take all the same. And there's a reason for that.
Very true. One thing that we talk a lot about here on the show, and it is men's mental health. That's a big issue for us. And we talk about the ego, we talk about all of that. And I recently heard you talking about the effects, the negative effects of isolation on people with disease.
Well, unfortunately, and MS is one of those isolating diseases because, and I'm not necessarily sure the isolation is greater for men than it is women. I have some very close friends who have isolated themselves because they don't want people to see them this way. They don't want to have to explain themselves to people. And some of that is justified. Some of that I think is unjustified because our egos do get in the way.
So I was living in Toronto. Did I just cut off Montel? So I was living in Toronto, and I felt like everyone. I always tell, like, I'm in a wheelchair, but I always tell people, just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean you're going to be in a wheelchair. Everyone is different. I don't want to scare anybody. You know, everyone has their own path in this. I was in Toronto, and I had a lot of friends. My ego got to the better of me because my legs were slowly going. So I moved cities and ghosted everyone. And now I'm kind of touching base with everyone, but they're like, where did you go? And I just couldn't explain to them. I'm like, yo, I didn't want you to see me like this. You wouldn't understand, because no one gets MS unless you have it, right?
And, I mean, for you, Terry, I would say, you are still being the best of you that you can be, even in your wheelchair. So it's easy for me to say, don't let that bother you, or go ahead and keep fighting publicly, because I don't feel the disdain that you feel sometimes when you walk into a room, or not when you roll into a room. I don't feel the eyes that look on you when you when you roll into a room. I don't feel, and even though some of those eyes aren't looking at you in any form of negative way, I don't translate those eyes the way you translate those eyes. But I would say to you that the only eyes that really do matter are the ones that look back at you every morning and every night before you go to sleep. And those are the eyes that you have to protect. But at the same time, you have to tell those eyes, look, you know what? You're not looking at a distortion. This isn't the least of what you are. You're looking at the best of what you are. And as long as you stay in that mindset, I mean, I've often said to people, the day may come when I'm in a wheelchair. I mean, I work out every day. I exercise every day. And I'm not saying that in a braggadocious way. But when the day comes that I can't do that every day, I will exercise whatever part of my body I can exercise, whether it be off a couch or off a bed or on the floor or on the chair. I will continue to exercise, because if the wheelchair has a finger operating, mechanism, I'm going to exercise these fingers. I'm going to do what I have to do to keep myself feeling as if I'm still me and you are still you. The wheelchair is just an augmentation. It's a affect of who you are. It's not who you are.
You need glasses. You wear glasses. It's a tool. My
Correct.
legs aren't working. I have a wheelchair. It's a tool. It's no different than wearing glasses.
Yep.
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And speaking of eyes, the eyes that I get sometimes, because I have, some days there's no mobility aid, some days there's a cane, some days there's a wheelchair. It just depends on what the legs want to do that day. So I've experienced that in a way that shifts from day to day sometimes. And just highlighting again that you're right. You're presenting you're using the tools and presenting the best version of yourself you can. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And let me just say that, especially in your case, Nick, it's like the brain can find pathways around damage. This is a known fact. As a matter of fact, there's a book that I think anybody who's watching this should pick up and read. It's called The Brain That Changes Itself. And that book identifies the fact that, we know. I mean, science has told us that we probably only use 20% of the brain cells that we have over the course of our entire life. There's another 80% of them that are sitting up there right now unassigned. There's no roadmap for those. I am convinced, 100% convinced, that our brain is way more plastic than we think it is. We just have to figure out a way to manipulate that plasticity. And repetitive, to the point that even if you need to have somebody physically help you with that repetitive motion will find a new link in that brain. It can find one. and Terry, in your case, if you're in a wheelchair right now, I don't know how much rehab you're doing on a weekly basis. I don't know whether your insurance helps you do that, but if you have a friend that can come over and literally while you're laying on your back, do those bicycle things and have them help you do those bicycle things every day. Do them for 35, 20, 30 minutes, even though it hurts, even though it's a bother, even though it's a pain in the ass. Do it, do it, do it, do it. The more your brain feels that thing happening, the brain will find something to help you do that yourself. Will it take you out in a wheelchair? Maybe not. But will it make you sitting in a wheelchair feel more comfortable? Yeah. Will it make you move a toe? Will it make you move a foot? Will it make you, clear that cramp in your shin? Yeah, it can. I don't think I'm just talking shit because I've seen people do it. I've done it
Dude,
myself.
I'm not against that. I love that you say that because, a lot of people say things that trigger me. And they say, "Don't stop. You're gonna walk again." It's like, yo, don't say it that way. Say it the way you said it just now. It might make your life a little easier if you just continue. I don't talk about this much because I don't like the fact that it sounds like I'm bragging. But I work out 3 days a week. I like to keep my upper body as strong as I can. And I used to do. I'll be honest with you. I used to do what you were saying, the bicycle kicks. It got harder and harder, and I kind of slowed down. Now that you're saying that, I might just continue.
If you can find, some gyms have them, some gyms don't. Maybe you can go up online and see if you can find a rehabilitative tool. But if you can find a harness that you can get your lower body, get your body in, and get on a treadmill on a harness, and make that treadmill just make your the legs move. Make your legs, they'll move. Just move. Have your feet down on the ground, and if they're dragging and the treadmill's moving, your legs are going to move like this. They're going to move whether you want them to or not. Use a hand to move it a little bit more. The more and more and more you do that, one of the things that I believe for as a fact, is that in our lives, our brains are the most plastic when we are a baby, when we are 9, 10 months old. When the brain tells the baby they can stand up, people look at that and go, "Oh, yeah, he took his first step." But you don't really think about what has just happened. When that baby stands up for the first time and takes a step, that baby's brain is processing about 1 billion bits of information at the exact same time. It's not just processing move this foot, move this foot. It's processing gravity. It's processing wind. It's processing breeze. You say wind? Well, the baby's inside. No, there's a breeze blowing all the time. Our brains, how do I say it? When we're just sitting here, I'm looking at the screen and you're looking at your screen and we're seeing each other. Do you realize that in this period of time that we've already spoken, probably 1 billion dust particles went between our faces and those in the screen? And
Yeah,
our brain processed that billion things out. When we step outside and you're walking down the street, when you're walking down the street, your brain is processing probably 1 million pieces of input at the exact same moment. Every single time it touches the ground, your brain processes the entire length of your foot that's on the ground. And it processes your knee, it processes your thigh, it processes your hip, it processes your stomach, your chest, your shoulders, your head, your neck. We don't take the time to think about it because it would overwhelm us. So our brains allow us to filter out some of this shit. The same thing happens if we slow down for a second and we say, okay, what can I do to really, 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 really rehabilitate myself or see if I can rehabilitate myself? That's when, like the baby, when that baby stands up and takes that step and takes another step, it's assigning brain cells to remind it how to do that. So the act of walking is one of the most plastic things our brains ever, ever, ever do in our entire life. So now you got to break that act back down as if you were the baby and think about it as that baby standing up. It takes it 35 times. It's got to hold on to stuff, got to hold on to stuff, got to be a walker. We don't even really process what a baby goes through to actually walk. So now you're at a place where your brain's telling you in one spot, I don't like that activity. But there's another spot of your brain that's going to say, let me see if I can do that again. Maybe I can do that again. If I just take one little piece of that step at a time.
Yeah. And the other thing is, not only is it processing all that, it's also running every single possible scenario that could happen as you're stepping. You're right.
Infinitesimally. In less than a millionth of a second.
Yeah. We don't give it enough credit.
We don't. And so therefore, again, I say, we have brain cells that are there waiting to be assigned. We just got to trigger them and get them to move, get them to work. You live in Canada, Terry?
Yeah. Near Toronto.
In Canada, they do, I think they still have them. There are some centers that work with a device that's called a PONS device. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but have you heard of an FES bike? I should have said this to you. I use the FES bike, which is a functional electrical stimulation bike, and they put electricity in my legs and make me push a bike.
It's a similar idea. The PONS device is a device that works by sending stimulation into the brain that makes the brain look for activity that it can pair with physical therapy to find new brain cells or to actually find new pathways. So, and I think still Canada has about 16 centers of excellence that have been working with this device for a long time. So you have to check that out, see if you can find it. It's a portable neuromodulation system.
Perfect. Thank you. I just typed in the letters. I didn't type in the whole word, just so you know.
That's okay.
But we're good. So I got a lot of questions for you. I got questions that I'm sure the general public would ask as well.
He's got preference questions.
Fire away.
He's got preference questions, if you don't mind.
That's all right. Fire away.
Okay, let's start with a simple one. What's the weirdest symptom that makes you think, seriously, that's a thing?
I have had since day one extreme neuropathic pain. Not neuropathy, not neuralgia, but extreme neuropathic pain. My feet, my shins, it's my feet, my shins, my side. I used to have trigeminal neuralgia. That seems to have gone away. And there are times when I can be laying down in my bed and my feet will lock into like I don't know what to call it, like a spasm that is the most painful shit in the world. It'll snatch my ass right up out of my sleep.
It's like posturing almost. It's like your leg. Is it like your legs are pulling up? Mine pull up to my stomach in the middle of the night sometimes.
Well, it's almost like my feet are trying to touch, my toes are trying to touch the front of my shin.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like not flopping down, but pushing way up, man. It's
terrible.
It like hurts. It hurts my, I think sometimes I'm going to rip my Achilles tendon. It hurts so bad. And it'll snatch me right out of sleep enough that I will jump. And then it goes in between my big toe and my second toe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like, oh my God. And we said, it makes you go, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then it hasn't happened as much lately, but every once in a while, if I stand up way too quick and my head's a little back, I will get a vertigo thing. That's a really weird one that I got to really watch out from falling. But also now the last one, the one that's the worst, is I am extremely heat sensitive. I mean, I'm telling you, temperature goes over 80, 81 degrees, and I got to stay inside. I need air conditioning.
I'm a huge proponent of the ice vest. I have 3 different versions, and I wear them almost every day when it gets to be summertime. I love them.
Well, I'm here in damn Miami, and you'd say, why the hell would you move to Miami with that mess? I end up staying inside 90% of my day. I blessedly had a little puppy who requires me to take him out for a walk, but I'm only good for a block, and I got to get back inside.
Telling you, try it.
If I'm not back inside, I might hit the pavement.
Try the ice vest. It's life-changing.
I will. You know, have you seen those little portable air conditioning units?
I have.
Okay, there's one of them in particular that you hang around your neck, and if you put it under your shirt, it'll blow cold air right on your heart.
Okay, there you go.
I haven't even heard of those ones. Okay.
And it's a pretty good thing. I tell you, I try to use it as much as I can when I'm out. I still shoot some, and while I'm shooting shows and stuff, and I'm outside, I have to put that thing on because no, I don't know. My problem is that I don't know when I'm overheating. So I've already
That's my problem
overheated.
too.
Yeah, I've already overheated. I've hit the pavement a couple times. I've hit the floor a couple times. I was sitting in a restaurant, right off a chair on the floor. I was in a restaurant here in Miami.
Yeah.
And woke up when the guy, when I heard people saying, "Let's call an ambulance." I was like, whoa. Just give me some ice, please. Give me some ice. And I'll put ice on my face, ice on my chest. And within a minute, I can kind of come back, but I got to get inside the air conditioning. I don't sit outside. I don't do, last week I had a really big business meeting, and it was 7:30 at night. And here in Miami, it was 84 degrees. And, I literally showed up at the restaurant, and these people, it was a group of people from Europe, a group of people, it was like 6, 7 people, and they had already picked a table outside. And I went to the restaurant, saw them outside and said, "Guys, look, sorry, I got to go. Can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't stay out here." And they were like, "Oh, you sure it's a nice breeze." Well, I said, "You think that's a nice breeze. That's hot air blowing to me."
And what, 150% humidity too? I don't know.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, sorry. But the party ended up moving inside, and they were all, kind of upset because the air conditioner was blowing inside. And, they were thinking, a couple of ladies came with, straps on their dresses. And I'm like, sorry, I can't. If you want me to be in this dinner, then you got to go inside. If you don't, I'll catch you next time.
Respect.
Just highlighting self-advocacy.
I have to.
Totally.
Nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. My wife does it for me. She literally will snatch my ass up when I don't, because again, I don't know when I'm getting too hot. And she can tell when we're outside, this is going to be too hot for him. And I go, "No, I'll do it." She goes, "No, you're not going to do it. You're not doing it." I'm like, "Okay." Yes, ma'am.
So you can.
I didn't even know that I was draining or melting in the heat. And I was in the car one day and I was flying my drone. And yes, my girlfriend was beside me. And after I was done, she looked at me and she goes, "Yeah, you need to get home. You're melting." And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I didn't even realize it. Like, I'm here like,
Right.
oh, I'm fine. But getting out of the car, was an issue. And then I realized that day, damn, I was done from the heat. 15 minutes and I was done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and honestly, for me, and again, down here in Miami, you got sun. The sun seems like it's closer here.
It is.
And I swear to you, before I can think about it, if I don't pay attention to it, 20 seconds in the sun, with the sun hitting me on the top of my head, can make me fall down. So I literally have to, I could step outside and from the shade into the sun, I put my hand out there. I'll put my hand out like this and go, "Oh yeah, that's hot." I'll just stay in the shade for a little bit. Then I'll walk out and jump in my Uber and I'll go. I mean, I even, how some restaurants have those gas fireplaces with the big, glass in front of it. Well, 90% of people can sit there and don't feel the heat. I don't realize that heat is getting me until it's too late. I have been face in a plate because of it. I mean, literally you sit there talking and go, right down. And then, people will jump up and they grab me and wipe their face off, and it's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was as hot as it was. I got to get away from this thing." And I'll get away from it and I can be better.
What gets me is we'll be out and it's not, that dramatic in that sense, but my wife will look at me and she'll go, "Oh, we've been out too long," because my speech slows down, my movements. It's like all of a sudden I'm in this quicksand and I'm just kind of like,
Yep.
and I don't even know what's happening.
Yep.
Up here, everything's fine, but externally I'm like, okay.
We think we're fine. But then, what I'll tell you something else I notice I do is that It's funny. I could be in a restaurant and no one else at the table will order ice water, but I always want ice water. Water's not cold enough for me. It's got to be colder. When I drink it, I got to feel cold going down my throat, by my esophagus. So I can, and that now, of course, it drives me to the bathroom 20 times in a meal, but I can drink, 24, 42 ounces of water at a meal, all with ice. And I don't even realize I've drank so much until I go, that's a third glass of water I just drank. Why? Because I'm getting hot.
Dude, I'm so bad at hydrating myself when I'm out because the effort it takes to go to the washroom, and hopefully the washrooms are accessible. Hopefully no one's, you know what I mean? There's a lot of hopefullys. And I know I shouldn't be, but dude, I have no choice at the moment sometimes, and no one lives in my shoes, you know what I mean? To understand the effort it takes to transfer every time.
I feel for you with that one, brother. I'm telling you, because I understand, but I don't know.
I know,
before
bro.
you go to a
I hear
restaurant,
you.
call ahead. See if that restaurant has an accessible bathroom. If it doesn't, skip it. Go to the next one. Go to someplace else. It's like, it used to. I guess one of the things I should say, and I don't say it in I'm not being nasty when I say this, but I really don't give a shit what people think. I don't.
When did that happen for you? Like, I'm 45. Okay, you're gonna say I'm young, but when does it happen? I have to be like, I want to be in that stage where I don't give a shit, and I say I don't, but
Be in
there's
that
times
stage
I
now.
know I do.
Wait, listen to me, brother. Let me tell you something. My whole life, I've lived by one moniker, especially one, two, but one. No one owns the definition of who I am but me.
Amen.
I'm going to say it again.
Amen.
No one owns the definition of who I am but me. That means nobody's going to tell me what I'm going to be with MS. Nobody's going to tell me how to behave except for me. I've owned this statement in my life since I was like, really 10 years old. It's become more important to me as I've aged. I would say, if you're going to say right now, you say you're 47 years old, you own it now. Stop with the idea of ain't nobody on this planet you got to please but you. Because if you don't please you, you don't please God. So, as much as you want to please your loved one and the person who loves you, sorry, got to be a little selfish, homeboy. And the selfishness, and I'm sorry if I sound like I'm being too preachy, but, the selfishness ain't selfishness. That's preservation. And when I say that, that means that when you roll away from the table to go to the restroom, who gives a shit what them people at the table think? They're not going to stand there and hold your pee-pee. They're not going to stand there and help you pee. You're going to do that on your own. And since they're going to leave you to do that on your own, then leave me alone about the fact that I got to do it.
And you'll find, Terry, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when you start doing that, anybody who doesn't truly care about you fades away. They're not in your life anymore.
And you're going to also find when you look in those eyes of your own in the morning, I'm telling you, you're going to love the person looking back.
I know what you're saying. What's funny is I always tell my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being selfish. And she's like, you're not being selfish. It's self-love. She always says that to me.
It
I'm
is.
like, yeah.
It's self-love, but it's also self-preservation, my friend. It's how you're going to stay on this planet and stay here and continue to contribute the way you are and continue to do so much for so many more people, so many other people. The fact that you share your life with so many people through this podcast, that happens. But if you don't really love you, it's going to come through. If you can't love you, then why would anybody else want to love you? So from my perspective, man, it's like, there were times that, I'm in the media. You gotta rely on what other people think of you. Then I stop and I think to myself, really? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when I think about other people's opinions of me, they're not paying my bills. So,
Yeah.
so their opinion's worth, the wrapper on a burger. You know what I mean? It's insignificant.
And that's really powerful coming from someone such as yourself who has had such a wider audience over the years that, like, when we're like, oh, we have 300 followers, or, whatever, we do the follow. And then we're like, hey, we're talking to Montel today. And, I've been watching him since forever. And to hear you say that you have to get right with doing it like for you and just not worrying about, because you're not going to please 4 million people, right? It's impossible.
You're never going to. And the fact of the matter is, people tune into you. They like you because of your authenticity. And if you're authentic to yourself, can you say they're going to like me? They may like me. They may not. I can't control what other people do. I can't control their feelings. I can't control their thoughts. I can't, as much as I want to try to be a motivational person and help motivate people to, to achieve their excellence, at the end of the day, do they really, after the third day, after they heard me 3 days before, do my words resonate anymore? I hope they do. But I can't base my worth on whether or not they do or not.
So if I pay your bills, will you take my opinions?
Your opinion's your opinion. Now, that doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter, but I'm not going to let it define me.
I get it.
To that point, you were one of the very first voices that I heard talking openly about the benefits of cannabis, even before it was even before it was legal, even before it existed as it does now. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I have my card, and I daily user, big believer. But that was big when you started talking about that. I remember it was like, okay.
Well, I got a lot of pushback for that.
Sure you did. Yeah.
But fortunately, the pushback didn't outweigh the people who understood where I was going and why I was talking about it. Because, plant medicine has been around for 5,000 years. How dare we think that we are smarter than nature? But we do. And we do so only because we seek financial gain. But nature has been here. And, if we believe in science, you believe in the words of Albert Einstein, that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, for everything that's happening on this planet, there's something that was put on this planet to counterbalance it. And cannabis may be one of those things. If you're really, into cannabis, I'll tell you, I have my own seeds out now.
Yep, that's
Through Brothers Grimm. And, these seeds are literally based on what have been some of the best phenotypes that I've tried my entire life. And, Blue Dream was one of my favorite phenotypes, along with White Widow. And I've been able to put those two together, crossbreed them, and now we have something that's called Dream Widow. And Dream Widow, if you grow yourself, I'd suggest you graft some, especially from an MS standpoint, because they're not such a big euphoric banger, but it gives you such a broad terpene profile that works on things like inflammation. And that's where I think, of course, we all know that inflammation is our nemesis. And so the more we can reduce inflammation, the better we are. And I am a daily cannabis user. I also have another one what's called Dream Fuel, which for those who want a little bit more energy, this is one. And then I have Dream Stone.
That's the newest one, right?
Blue Dream. That's the newest one, Dream Stone, which is Blue Dream Rosetta Stone. That's got a little bit more of a euphoria. So be as slow as you roll with that one. However, that does a brother right.
Sometimes that's what we need. And Terry, beep this one out, but I call it taking 1,000 cc's of it all. Sometimes that's what you need.
Perfect.
I think I stole that from Cat. I think I stole that from Cat Williams. I think that was in his act.
Oh my goodness, man! That sounds like that. I'm gonna act like it's an original. I'm gonna give it to Nick.
Yeah, I am also a user, but I'm very low key about it just because I don't know who's against. It's like politics or religion. I don't like to talk about it because I just don't know who's for it, who's against it. And I know what you're going to say, but that's why I'm so low key about it. And I'm like, I just don't want to upset people. I don't want them to shame me or judge me, but it is a medicine that I use.
Well, and unfortunately, it's going to take a generation to die before we
Agreed.
to really truly get the benefits out of it. You got a generation of people who, lived their whole lives wishing and hoping that it stayed illegal so that they can have their same racist attitudes that they've had.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that eventually, isn't it crazy? 5,000 years later, we still can't cross that plane.
Yeah. Yep. It's almost like it's a weed that we can't get rid of.
Well, well, that's exactly what it is. But at the same time, again, there aren't any other plants on the planet that we are genetically predisposed to consume. We're not genetically predisposed to consume asparagus. We don't have something in our systems that is called an endoasparagus system. We don't have something in our system that's an endo-broccoli system, spinach system. We have something in our bodies that's called an endocannabinoid system for a reason, because our bodies make cannabinoids. We make endogenous cannabinoids. This has been something that all mammals do. Most people don't know that either. All mammals, dolphins to dogs, all mammals have an endocannabinoid system. And what is that? We actually, if you had never consumed cannabis in your entire life, you have cannabinoids in your body that we could test for. One's called anandamide, the other's called endocannabinoid is 2-AG. CB1 and CB2 connectors are spots in our brain that literally allow us to be affected by and antagonized by cannabinoids.
Yeah. So for those of you keeping score, you're born with the ability to want, need, and produce this. It's widely available all over the globe, and yet every force on the planet is telling you should not take it because it's not good.
Only since 1927.
Yes.
And America started that campaign to eliminate the ability to process hemp and cannabis. A lot of people don't even know why.
20s. If it's America and America did it, it probably had something to do with either economic status or skin tone.
It had to do with both. It had to do with the fact that we had guys like Charles DuPont and William Randolph Hearst. Hearst was cutting down all the big trees. DuPont was trying to bring textiles to the world. And they realized that this hemp plant was going to slow that process down. Why? Because most people don't even know, when Henry Ford made the first car, his car ran off of hemp oil.
I did not know that.
You know that?
What?
As a matter of fact, Henry Ford even made his first automobile. The external panels to it were made out of hemp fibers. So, and most people don't know that every sail, every rope that was used at sea were manufactured from hemp fibers.
Yep.
The whole idea of the word canvas comes from cannabis. There are so many, and remember when the three wise men went to see the baby Jesus, they took him incense, frankincense, and myrrh. Well, you know that frankincense is a family cousin to the hemp plant. It was good enough for the baby Jesus. How come it's not good enough for me?
Amen. So yeah.
The anointing oil that Jesus used when he was going around anointing people was hemp seed oil.
Tell you what, I'd attend more church if they brought all that back.
Well, there you go.
I know you're talking about the AC units,
Got
but
it.
the fan I can't because the hair goes in the fan. So,
oh no, this one's even cooler than that. It's got a little thing on top of it. I don't think your hair would even your beard would affect it at all. And you stick it inside your shirt so it keeps that cold air inside there.
Terry's got a bunch of questions, like I was saying, but before we get to those, I want to ask you, you've probably been asked a million times, but what what message would you send to, we have a lot of newly diagnosed listeners and watchers. So what message would you pass on to the newly diagnosed people?
The most important thing I think that we and anybody suffering from any kind of chronic illness needs to do is get knowledge. Unfortunately, when I was diagnosed back in 2000, we didn't have a robust internet, so you couldn't really look it up. You couldn't really study it as much as you can now. But there are so many articles on MS, probably 12, 13,000. And the most important thing I think people need to do is study it. Understand as much about this disease as you can so that when you go see your doctor, you can ask them questions based on knowledge. And once you start gaining that knowledge, you'll start to realize that this is more of a spectrum disease that's more on a bell curve than a flat line, everybody's the same. And that knowledge in itself will let you know that there are things that we can do to help mitigate some of the symptoms. There are things. They don't work for everybody, but they work for some of us. And so the more knowledge you get, the better prepared you are to deal with what you have to deal with.
Awesome that you say that, because we are all about spreading the information and you making your own choice. And we don't give anyone advice. We just want everyone to have knowledge, make your choices, but as long as you have the right knowledge.
I'm sorry. Yeah. The other
2AG.
Go ahead.
There you go. See, that's how it works sometimes.
It comes back to that.
Awesome.
I'm sitting there, why can't I remember that one? It's always on the tip of my tongue, but I missed it.
And we're fortunate enough to have had and have lined up in the future everyone from persons like yourself to doctors to patients who've done stem cells. Like, we try to get how everybody's trying to go through this because it's a lot. It can be drowning. You can drown in the emotions and the information, and it's a lot.
Well, I also, I want to say this, and I'll say this with a little reticence, however. I literally have been working with a company that has a breakthrough drug that really wasn't designed for MS. It was designed to reduce inflammation. And this drug it's really in stage 3 trials. Hopefully will be in the marketplace within the next year or so. And I think that may be something that's going to impact MS, I believe, because it's going to reduce inflammation. That's what it does. Whether for Parkinson's, for stroke, for cancer, it reduces inflammation. And if we can reduce inflammation in our MS bodies, it's going to have residual benefit. And so, I like to believe that hope is on the horizon.
Agree.
Appreciate that.
I agree. And we look forward to, now I'm going to be paying attention. Not that I wasn't before, but now I'm going to be keenly looking for when we get out of stage 3. So
yep.
You have to have people reach out so that we can make the big announcement with you.
Absolutely.
All right. So some rapid fire questions from Terry to wrap up our time together here as we're getting close. So go ahead, Terry.
Really simple questions, silly questions. Coffee or nap?
I don't drink coffee anymore at all. I stopped drinking coffee now about 3 years ago, after taking about a 3-year period of time where I was reducing the amount of coffee I drank. I am a napper. As a matter of fact, as soon as we get done, I take a nap. Then I take a nap and I'll get up and go to the gym. So I'm a napper. There's no question.
Nice. Let's get through these questions so you can take a nap. Compression socks. Do you love them or hate them?
I don't like them at all. They hurt my feet. They don't give me they don't relieve the pain. They make it worse for me. See, and other people, the compression seems to mitigate some of the neuropathic tingling and that kind of stuff. That doesn't do that for me at all. As a matter of fact, it hurts more, and it hurts my shins really badly.
That's one of the suggestions everyone does. Hey, you should get compression socks. It's like sometimes they're not good for you. You got to make sure.
I don't recommend. From me, it doesn't work. Now watch this. What's really weird is I wear a compression shirt when I work out.
A little extra resistance.
But it's also, I don't know. I don't know what it is that I'll go down to the gym. I try to go to the gym every day. And if I miss 1 or 2 days, now I don't necessarily lift weights every day, but yesterday I did 45 minutes of aerobics, and do anything else other than that. But some days I'll do 45 minutes of aerobics and 20 minutes of abs. Then another day I'll do, 20 minutes of aerobics and 40 minutes of weightlifting and abs. So I mix it up, and I wear a compression shirt every time I work out, especially if I'm on the treadmill.
Never skip leg day.
My leg days have changed. I got to tell you something, dude. I used to walk around, if you reach out to Melanie, who helps set this up, she'll send you a picture of me as in my younger years when I used to bodybuild. I used to walk around about 220. And, I used to be able to squat, off a rack. I could squat 590, 600.
Solid.
I could squat for reps, a solid 385 to 390, with no help. I literally first off, my legs were like so damn big. I used to have to buy size 36 pants and cut the butts down to 32, and just to put my legs on. And that got silly. And, I started noticing why, I don't know, I didn't mention this, but I had a stroke now about 8 years ago. And the stroke that I had it happened while I was squatting.
Really?
And so I kind of, I pay very close attention to I work legs. I'm still doing, I do them I put them into kettlebell exercises, but I don't actually lock down and do hard work, leg work.
It's like a PTSD because of that, right?
Yeah.
Because it happened while you did that. So that's
correct.
A few more questions. We're done. Cane, walker, wheelchair. Which one has the most personality? Yeah, weird question, eh?
Well, I mean, tell you something. I've seen a couple of people that I run into a lot who are in wheelchairs. A couple of people I know that one has cerebral palsy and the other one has MS. And do they rock that wheelchair, brother? I'm telling you, man. Sometimes I'll see them, and the hello is like they roll back and do almost like a leg up thing when I see them. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But a cane can be the walker. I gotta tell you something. I used the walker for about 30 days after I had my stroke, and I wasn't feeling the walker. I was trying to get out of that thing as quickly as I could. So if I was gonna rock something to be stylishly cool, it would be a cane.
Okay, cool. Worst advice you've ever received about MS?
You have to be vegan. That was the worst advice I ever received.
Wow.
You
People
have to
say that?
You got to change your diet and become a vegan. I'm telling you, I think it was bullshit. I did it for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and did more damage to myself than I did good. Because you're not going to be 40 years old and all of a sudden, after you've been eating meat your whole life, start eating only vegetables. Because what ends up happening is your body starts turning on itself. If you've been a protein eater for 90% of your, 100% of your life for 40 years, your body's looking for protein, whether you like it or not. I don't give a damn. I could talk to 9 million vegans and I'll argue this is up a day I die. When I got off of being a vegan and went back to eating, I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I eat red meat, and I eat fish, I eat chicken. So when I started making sure I had a well-rounded diet, I felt better and more energy, and lots of things. I was almost jaundiced at one point in time because I was eating so little meat. And, maybe I wasn't trying to vegan the right way, but I really care. I'm telling you, that was the worst advice I ever took, was to do that.
We come from hunter-gatherers. So we hunted and we gathered. So we had game and we had vegetable. Like, you have to have both. That's what we're built for.
When we were little rodents running around on the savannah, we were eating rotten meat. So, and the reason why we have the teeth that we have is so that we can rip meat and we can chew and crunch down on vegetation. We would not have these teeth if we didn't need to have the things that we eat.
Agreed.
Finish this sentence. MS can kiss my...
You know, I will tell you something, and this is going to sound really weird when I say it. About once I accepted the fact that I had MS, it no longer became a burden. As a matter of fact, it's almost become a little bit more like a blessing. And what do I mean by that? It's made me more empathetic. It's made me more aware of my surroundings and who I am. It's made me more aware of other people who might have an invisible illness that I didn't think of before. So it's made me not just more empathetic, but more sympathetic and more understanding of humankind. And so, you know, understanding the trials and tribulations that I go through makes me more aware of what other people go through. And that makes me more human.
Well said. Yes.
Thank you so very much for taking the time to talk with us. I know you're extremely busy. I wish you nothing but the best going forward. Terry's going to link all of the products and all of the things that we talked about today. But once again, thank you so very much.
No, man. And thank you guys so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for lifting people up. Thank you for sharing. Because, that's one of the things that I think is the most important thing that we can do for each other is let people know where we are, bring them in, give them a sense of the fact that we value their opinion. And when I said earlier that I don't give a shit about what people think, that's what I'm talking about when I say I don't care what they think about me, but I value their opinion about themselves. I value their opinion about what they're able to share with other people when it comes to MS.
Many blessings till we meet again, my friend.
Rock on, guys. Stay at it, okay?
Okay.
Respect, bro. Thank you so much,
Best.
man.
Take care.
So much respect
Awesome.
to you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Terry,
Yeah.
what a gentleman. What an absolute pleasure to speak with. The saying is you shouldn't meet your heroes. I don't agree with that.
Mhm.
In this case, that is totally false. Such a nice guy, totally genuine.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about him that I didn't even, and just hanging out and talking and just really cool. Really cool
Yeah,
guy.
man. We had a great chat with him
Yep.
for sure. I loved it.
So thanks everybody for sticking with us for the whole episode. We always like it when you're here till the end. What can I say? Till next time, next week. Terry, talk soon, brother.
Talk to you guys soon.
So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4, the letter T, below0.com. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. And if you don't want to email us, no problem. We're on Instagram as @40belowzero. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you, and we'll talk soon.